Kingsman: The Golden Circle is a sequel to a film that I absolutely loved. And, it does well. I mean, it's a decent film. It's a decent sequel. But it doesn't really compare at all to the first movie.
Being a Kingsman is more than the clothing we wear or the weapons we bear. It's about being willing to sacrifice for the greater good. I hope you're ready for what comes next.
So this was again directed by Matthew Vaughn, and this is actually the first sequel of his own film that he's directed. Like, he's had other of his films have sequels, but he's never directed any of them. He's always moved on to another project. And, this first sequel is just not on the same level as the first film. And it's tough because it's impossible for it to be on the same level, because the first film was introducing these characters, and they have this whole, training plot. You can't really do the whole training plot again, and introducing this new character and having them grow and almost like a coming of age. And, it's tough to match it. And there's so many crazy moments in the first film that you can't really match. And I feel like this film, The Golden Circle, they took the lessons from the first film and tried to say, take that parts of those cool moments and didn't realize maybe why those moments were so cool. Like, they took that, okay, they love the extreme action with the camera circling around it, so let's do that with every action piece in the film. And then it just gets kind of annoying at a certain point. Okay, they liked a kind of a weird supervillain with a henchman with a random body part that's different. And it's like, that you can get some cool parts. I mean, there's a lady with sword legs is much cooler than a guy with a random fake arm that does things. And I think the biggest problem too is probably the villain. Julianne Moore plays Poppy, and she's like the drug kingpin. But so much of the stuff that doesn't really make sense. So much in the movie, it feels like almost like a cartoon. Like, it's so exaggerated. And because Poppy, somehow she controls the drug market around the entire world. And that's not how it works. I mean, you have unless this is a different universe and there are no cartels, there are no people growing drugs in their backyard or in their house, there is no legal marijuana. Like, there's legal marijuana in the U.S. and in a lot of other countries. So, I mean, there's legal drugs in other countries, too. And, but somehow she can infect every drug user with a virus whenever she wants. And it's so contrived. And, the super villainous that she does, she makes people turn into cannibals before they giving them a golden circle on their chest. It's just kind of goofy. She never really feels evil. She never really feels like what she's doing is evil. And her plot, the only reason that she wants to do this is she wants to be famous, I guess. She doesn't want to, but right now, even though she's a billionaire, she has to hide in the woods, in the jungle. And then that, she has this theme where she, make, the 50s style everything. And it's just not effective. I mean, there are some funny parts with a singer character that pops up. But then again, with him later, I guess it brings in the cartoony things when that character is also a kung fu master. Or it can, does, flying kicks, and it's okay, that's just stupid. And the whole movie, it feels like a cartoon, so much of it. And I think it doesn't help that a lot of it is CG, much more than the first film. I still really like Taron Egerton as Eggsy. And they do some interesting things with, how that they have to go to America and join with the statesmen. But it almost feels like something that a movie would do in its third or fourth sequel, not in its first sequel. Because to do this, they kind of destroy the Kingsman. And including a character in this other thing that you really liked from the first movie. And it's oh, you're doing that? Why? Why not? Why get rid of that character? I like that character. I like that thing. Why get rid of that? And they even say that one character, it looks like they jump away, but they never bring it up, so I guess they're all dead. And it's just okay. So I guess you have to introduce all these new characters, and they have to waste time introducing the Kingsman and all these new characters, and it's you could have done something else. It feels like so much of that is just a time waster. Because this movie is relatively long, and it feels like it drags in spots. But then I do like the Statesman. There's some cool things with them. And, they do some cool things together with Taron Egerton. It's tough. There's also even more cartoony, slightly Bond things with explaining how Colin Firth's character is actually alive. It's kind of random how they did that, but okay, fine. But then they kind of get this thing that any brain, you shoot someone in the brain, they can save them immediately. And it's like, that's not how that works. You shoot a guy point blank, it's not just going to go in, cause no brain damage really, and just kind of sit there and you can press something on there and not have the brain die. It goes through there and it explodes out the back, especially from a close shot. If you see a real gunshot, it explodes the back of the brain. It goes through a small hole and then there's no recovering all that mush brain matter. It's just so cartoony and unbelievable. And that's probably my most disliked thing about the movie, how so much of it is unbelievable. It's also a little odd how the end of the first film, pretty much all the world's leaders and celebrities and a lot of the people had their heads exploded. And they never really mention it. The world doesn't seem different. And it's just a little odd. It's interesting too that a lot of things they played the callbacks to the first film, or they tried to do the same thing from the first film. But you have when he's trying to get back, the character had amnesia, Colin Firth. They do the water room, they do the dog, and they have one earlier on they do a thing where they go out and try to get a girl to sleep with them so that they can implant a tracking device. They do a lot of the same things. And even the big overarching thing that they have to stop is the villain having done something to infect. Instead, the first one was their phones. This one is their drugs, and that they're all going to be killed, and that he has to, including a loved one. Again, this one is his girlfriend, which I kind of like that instead of they going away from the Bond thing, that the girl from the beginning, they're actually boyfriend and girlfriend now with Taron Egerton. But then there's a thing where, in the first movie, he had his mom and his baby brother, that the mom, is going to kill him because that the phone is trying to get all the poor people to kill each other. And, he has to stop it in time, to stop that. And it's very reminiscent to the two films that they do the same sort of thing. And the little odd thing too is that they never show the mother or his little brother at all. They show three of his friends, but never bring up the mother or brother at all. It's a little odd. They completely out and they're missing. There's even a scene in the epilogue. I won't spoil it, but I don't think the mom or his little brother was in it at all. It's a little odd. And then, the plot of the drug kingpin poisoning the drugs, and so that there's they're all gonna die. And it's kind of funny that they have the president, and instead of going for a Trump president like they did, they blew up Obama's head in the first movie. In this one, they don't have Trump at all, and instead they have a Mike Pence character as president. So I'm not sure in this universe, maybe Trump has already been impeached, or he had his head exploded in the first film. But there's this kind of fun idea where he's ultra conservative Christian, and he thinks that all the drug dealers should be killed, so he's fine with that. But there's scenes with where they're gathering them up in stadiums in jail cells, and it looks so cartoony with how they're stacked up one upon each other. It's so unbelievable. I think that's my biggest problem with the film, that so much of the things is cartoony and unbelievable. When the first film was trying to be the anti-Bond, where yes, they have a lot of crazy weapons and crazy things, but it's also more unbelievable. It's not a movie, it's not James Bond. And I wish they kind of broke that in this film. But I think it's still an enjoyable film though. It's still enjoyable popcorn flick. It's just the first film was also a really good movie. And this one is just an enjoyable movie. It's not a great movie. I'd probably give it a 7.5 or a 7.75 out of 10. I mean, if you like the first film, you'll probably like this. And it's a good time at the movie theater, so you check it out. But I wouldn't really highly recommend it. But you check out other Real Playthrough on my head or subscribe to me over here. Thanks.